Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Josh from the National Weather Service in Duluth, Minnesota. I wish I was coming at you with an April Fool's joke, but unfortunately, we do have some winter weather coming our way. I know we're all sick of the snow and the cold, but let me at least just tell you what we are expecting. We are expecting a couple rounds of potentially heavy snow with some ice accumulations possible. It's going to be basically two different storms, one Wednesday night through Friday morning, and then another one late Friday through Sunday morning. So things that have changed since our previous forecast. It's looking like some places could see 6 inches or more from this first system, and then, well, we could see almost a rinse and repeat from the second system. So headline wise, we have a winter storm watch for the entire Northland for this first system that goes from noon Wednesday until midnight Friday. And there's going to be some places in here that may see just some minor impacts, so just a few inconveniences to daily life, but there are many places that could see some moderate impacts. So, some hazardous conditions if you're driving, maybe you want to avoid driving in some of those places. So, a lot of uncertainty still. That's why we have such a broad area in a watch for now. But let's just take a look at some of the details here. So you can see the timeline roughly of this first storm from Wednesday through Friday. Then we're just going to have a very quick break around Friday, especially Friday morning into the early afternoon. And then we start to see more precipitation again with another system. So most places are going to see snow. Some places will see a wintry mix and maybe some freezing rain. And the best chances for the wintry mix, freezing rain will be in northwest Wisconsin. And that's for both systems. So let's talk about the first system first. We have on the right here a map which shows a probability of seeing 4 inches or more of snow accumulation. And you can see that most of the Northland, especially northeast Minnesota, has a pretty high chance of seeing that, about 70, 80, 90% chance. Best chances around the North Shore and Bayfield Peninsula around Lake Superior. One caveat with some of the forecasts that we're going to be showing is that we're late into the winter right now, into the spring, so we got a pretty high sun angle, and during the daytime that's going to make it somewhat difficult for snow to accumulate on some surfaces. If temperatures rise to around freezing or so. And in the case of this first storm, we're going to see some of that snow falling on Thursday, so it may struggle to accumulate on some surfaces like roadways and sidewalks and that sort of thing. So when we see some of these high snowfall amounts potentially here, just note that most of that is going to be on the grassy surfaces. But here's a probability map of seeing 6 inches or more on the left and 8 inches or more on the right. You can see that, northeast Minnesota has the highest chances, 50% or greater for seeing some 6-inch amounts or more, and lesser chances for seeing 8-inch amounts. I would say overall, this system is kind of looking like a more or less run-of-the-mill type of winter storm. It's not going to be, a high impact situation like blizzard conditions or anything. We're not expecting that, but we're also not expecting this to be just a light snow event either. So kind of somewhere in the middle there. Ice potential, again, best potential of seeing a tenth of an inch of ice accumulation or more. That's going to be in northwest Wisconsin, although a lot of this is going to be dependent on the storm track, which we're still a little bit uncertain of. So that could move a little bit northwest or perhaps a little bit southeast depending on the storm track. But right now it looks like northwest Wisconsin has the best chance of seeing a little bit of ice accumulation along with some sleet mixing in and just kind of a more of a wintry mess out that way. We will have some strong northeast winds on Thursday with the snow as well. The winds are going to be strongest, in the 30 to 40 mile per hour range along the North Shore down to the Twin Ports and then towards the Bayfield Peninsula. So we are expecting the consistency of this snow to generally be of the heavy and wet variety. So we could see a little bit of blowing snow, and this could, as it kind of accumulates on surfaces, could perhaps lead to some isolated power outages, things like that, just due to the heavy wet nature of it combined with the wind. So that's just something to keep in mind as well. Now let's talk quickly about the second system. This is going to be late Friday through Saturday night. There's a lot more uncertainty with this one because it's several days out of here, but at least at this time it looks like somewhat of a rinse and repeat. So best chances for seeing maybe 6 to 8 inch amounts, about 50% chance, kind of the North Shore and then Bayfield Peninsula again. We're looking at this starting around Friday afternoon and evening, and then kind of ending around Saturday. So the heaviest snowfall rates are going to be happening Friday night with this one. Winds are not going to be quite as big of a factor with this one as it looks right now. We may see some gusts up to 20 to 30 miles per hour, but that's going to be a little bit less of windy conditions compared to the first storm. With this one, again, we could see some icing. Better chances are going to be in northwest Wisconsin, maybe 30-40% chance down towards, Price County, Iron County, Ashland County, those places. Again, a lot of uncertainty with this and expect the forecast to change, but that's what we're looking at right now. So just wanted to give you a quick update on this. Expect some forecast changes as we update our forecast in the next day or two as the storms approach. But again, like I said, winter is not over yet. I wish this was an April Fool's joke, but it is not. So take it safe out there.